What is going on, guys? Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Red and Gold Standard podcast. My name is Zach Hernandez, and as always, I am joined by my guy, Mike Andrews of Nothing But Niners. Matt Llewellyn will be joining us shortly, but for now, you got the duo here, and tonight we'll be previewing the 49ers Week 10 matchup. Can you believe we're at Week 10 already? Week 10 matchup. Yeah. It's tough versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on the road, fresh off the bye week. We got a ton to get into tonight, so make sure you are hitting like and subscribe. Make sure you're sharing the posts on X. Both of our handles are on the screen. Make sure you go follow us, follow the podcast, follow 49ers, follow Nothing But Niners, follow everyone. Follow everyone while you're at it. Make sure you're hitting like and subscribe on YouTube as well. We want to hear your thoughts. This is going to be a good one. Now that I got that out of the way, Mike, how you doing tonight?
I am absolutely fantastic. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Let's make some noise for them, man. Let's go, baby, huh? I'm hyped, man. I'm pumped up, man. I'm ready to talk some 49ers football. The bye week was a long one, and I had a lot going on in my personal life. I'm ready to get back to football, ready to start talking about some good things, some positive things, and this team turning the corner, man, getting away from this first half of the season that's been a little rocky, been a little rough. So I'm excited. Absolutely excited.
Definitely. I can't believe we're at Week 10 already. It's been a crazy 10 or 11 weeks, I guess, counting the bye week. But nonetheless, we are back, guys. Like I said, make sure you share the stream, copy the link, paste on social media. It helps more than you know. But let's get into this. So the 49ers travel to Tampa, fresh off their bye week, to take on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Both teams are beat up. It seems like the 49ers are going out of the injury plague wasteland, and unfortunately, the Bucs just went through their first week going through it off their fresh Monday Night Football overtime loss to the Chiefs. The 49ers did get some good news. Chris McCaffrey practiced. He looks good. He looks fresh. Everyone's happy to hear that. How big is that addition? Even though Mason is like third in the NFL in rushing, and Guerrero has looked good the past couple of weeks. Obviously, how good is that addition, Mike?
Man, listen, if we can get Christian McCaffrey back and just use him at a 50% capacity, we'll be absolutely fantastic. We would be great. And I think it's going to help Kyle. I think it's going to make him feel a little bit more comfortable, you know? I think it's going to allow him to say, all right, guys, I can do these things, and I'm going to catch everybody off guard now. Let's do it. Let's go. So it'll be really, really good. It'll be really good for Kyle Shanahan. It'll be good for the 49ers, and I think that's what we need, man. Christian McCaffrey, I'm not going to say don't rush back because we need him to hurry up and get his tail back here in the building, but I think the most important thing is health and longevity at this point. It's not just for one game. So let's get him back in here. Let's see how he does. It's good positive reports from practice, no setbacks or anything like that. And it's smart that the Niners haven't bumped him up to the active roster because now Kyle does not have to officially report on him if he doesn't want to. He doesn't have to say if there was a setback. This guy's not on my active roster, so I don't have to tell you guys anything about him. I like how they're playing it all out.
Yeah, it's been interesting, but nonetheless, it's exciting to see him practice. Also, we are getting some reinforcements in the shape of Juwan Jennings and John Feliciano. John Feliciano is ready to come off the I think he started the year on IR, so that's huge as well. He was the best. Where was he playing before? Right guard before Pooney? But prior to getting injured,
he was alternating with Burford.
Right. That's right. Prior to getting injured, he was one of the better 49ers linemen, and I was screaming all season going into midseason last year to I like Burford, but to bench Burford and put Feliciano in his place because I thought Feliciano had way more of an upside. And as soon as Feliciano got in there, the offensive line looked a lot better. So they did that weird rotation. I wasn't really a fan of it. I'm hoping Feliciano goes in. Question for you, Mike. Where would Feliciano go if there was a place? Do you think they would really bench a current starter, swap in John Feliciano, or do you think that's a long shot at this point?
It's going to be tough, man. I haven't seen a whole lot that says, hey, this guy needs to come out and that guy needs to go in, other than sometimes some play at the right guard spot and in the center, but it's nothing that I think that we need to absolutely make a move for. If he is a head and shoulders above someone else, then I say go ahead and give it to him, but I don't know that, and that's something that I would trust. This is the thing. We have a really, really good offensive line coach. And so if that's the case, I say trust that guy, let him do his damn thing, and he's going to make the right decision. If Feliciano all of a sudden ends up in the lineup, it's for a good reason. You get what I'm saying? I don't think Chris Forrester is just going to go ahead and just do that for no reason. So I'm not mad at that at all.
Gotcha. Well, I would predict if he replaces anyone outright, it's Jake Brendel. Brendel has been one of the poor graded centers. I got nothing against Jake. Wish him the best, but he is too consistently on his ass. And for how poor McKivitz has been the past 2 years, it's saying a lot that I think Feliciano could slide in. And shout out to Feliciano, by the way, for being multi-talented and being able to slide in at different positions on the offensive line. Not any player can do that and still play at a starter level. So I'm excited to see what he can do. There were also reports of Dre Greenlaw. Go ahead.
Sorry, before you move on from him, I do want to say this, though. I absolutely think that Feliciano brings more swag, for a lack of a better term. He brings some more confidence to the offensive line. He's already tweeting and popping off at the mouth. Remember how he upset Burford at the I missed one play and look at what happens in the Super Bowl type of thing, right? Like, he brings that attitude, that nasty feistiness that we might be missing from the offensive line, right? I want to see some dog. Trent, we know, will get violent, will check somebody, punch him in the back of the helmet. Trent will do all the physical stuff, but he's not this guy. Right? He's not that Alex Boone type of guy. Don't F with me, right? Feliciano might be the closest that we have to that. And so for that, he might have a value with coming back.
Good point. Very good point. Okay, so we also did see Dre Greenlaw. There were reports of him running on the side of the field with his helmet on. Make of that what you will. Kyle Shanahan had previously said after the bye week, Dre Greenlaw would kind of move to week. Not really giving a concrete date on when he expects him back, but either way, that's great progress. I mean, the man tore his Achilles in February, so it's really, really promising to see. Hopefully we get him back by the end of the month, maybe. I mean, week to week at this point. Hopefully within a couple of weeks he turns into day-to-day, so we'll see. And also, as far as injuries, 49ers were able to let go of kicker Anders Carlson, who – off the top of my head, I want to say made every kick with the 49ers. Shout out to Carlson filling in respectably for Moody. But they let him go because Jake Moody returned to practice. Also, Juwan Jennings returned to practice. He had been dealing with that hip injury that kept him out the last 2 games. So very important. And on Monday, they opened the practice window on John Feliciano that we were just talking about. So very, very, very big reinforcements coming for the 49ers. What do you think the timing of this bye week? Is that working against the 49ers for the 49ers? It's perfectly in the middle of the season. There's a lot of like science and magic that people like to try and get out of the bye week. What do you make of the bye week 9? Here
we go. This is my thoughts on it. Round of applause, man. It's been absolutely beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. I think the Niners absolutely needed this, man. Just for nothing else, stop the applause. Just for nothing else, let's look at the reinforcements that are just coming back, right? Like, imagine if we had to play a game last week and these guys had to practice hard, right? It's like, all right, what do we do then? Like, if they're practicing hard to see if they can come back, they might be pushing it. You know what? Here's a week where we don't need you because no one's playing. Just go sit down. R&R, let the body naturally restore itself, regenerate some of those cuts and wounds and all that stuff, and get some of those skin cells back and all that good stuff, right? Like, this, we didn't have a lot of positives, right, with the schedule making, but this is one of the things that I think the NFL did a solid with the Niners. You're going to give us 4 freaking opponents off of bye weeks. Give us the bye week in the middle of the season, man. Don't give it to us early. And don't give it to us too late where we can't come back from the injuries and all that stuff. Give it to us right in the middle. This is one of the very few things that I like about our schedule this year is that season bye week, and we know what Kyle Shanahan teams do after the bye. They really, really find their groove. The offense all of a sudden comes alive, and I think this is going to help. I think that – all right, here we go. I think that this is going to help in ways that nobody else expects it to help us, right? The 49ers, because of the lack of Christian McCaffrey, basically lost the middle of the field, right? I feel like the Yak Bros disappeared. There's not a bunch of yak, right? The Niners are towards the bottom of the league in yak. We're towards the top of the league in air yards for quarterback passes, right? And I don't think that's by mistake. I think teams said, oh, there's no Christian McCaffrey. Debo's banged up, right? Kittle's been banged up. We're going to take away the middle of the field and dare them to beat us deep. And Brock's had to do that, right? The 49ers offense has had to do that. But here's the thing that's going to help us now. Now Christian McCaffrey's coming back. Now Debo's had another week to rest. Now George Kittle's had another week to rest. Now we can implement both of those at the same time now. Now we can go across the middle because you got to be a little bit more honest when you play Christian McCaffrey, when you're trying to defend where that little sneaky MFer is going to go, right? Now you got to defend Christian McCaffrey and Debo, who can both be deadly out the backfield or running a route. You know what I mean? Or a short pass or something like that, right? And what they do with the ball in their hands afterwards. And so now we get to implement two types of offenses into the same one. Are we going to go deep? Are we going to go shallow, intermediate? Now they have no idea. And so this schedule really, really helped us out a lot. I think that Kyle's going to be able to step back and get in his bag. And for once, he's going to get to dictate what we do to the opposing defenses and not respond to the defensive formations and see what they're going to tell us we have to do. I'm really, really excited for that.
Yeah. Also, I was thinking about it today. By the way, speaking of the bye week, when the 49ers historically have a bye week, they come back and they're on fire. I mean, their record in November, I think Kyle Shanahan in November is like 10-1 or something like that. 9-1. I don't know. It would be more than that since he's played since 2017. He's coached since 2017. But he has a winning record in the month of November. And historically, after the bye week is when the 49ers hit the ground rolling. Last year was a little different because they started out uncharacteristically hot, 5-0. But if you go and remember, they went into the bye week on a 3-game losing streak. And then they came off of their bye week and handled the Jags on the road. Jags at the time, I think, were 5-2. But this bye week, I think, came at the perfect time, allowed the 49ers to heal up. Jordan Mason had been dealing with that reoccurring shoulder injury that every game he would go into, nope, he's fully healthy, he's ready to go. And then, 15 minutes in, oh, Mason's banged up, he's on the sideline, he's not going to return. Even though he has his helmet on and he can return, we're going to rule him out. So that allowed a full, 2-week period between games for that shoulder to heal up. And also, I was talking about this in our group chat earlier. With McCaffrey coming back, this gives Kyle Shanahan the best running back trio that he's had since 2019.
Ooh,
and
talk your shit.
Much better than 2019 with even 60% McCaffrey. You got Christian McCaffrey. You got Jordan Mason, who, like I said, is third in the NFL in rushing. And you got Isaac Guerrero, who, yes, is a rookie, but boy, has he looked good. He's looked good the last 2 weeks, coming on slowly but surely. Mike, do you think we'll actually see Kyle Shanahan use running back by committee, kind of by force, but do you think he'll actually do it, or is he going to stick with running back into the ground and then moving on to the next one like we've seen so far?
He's running them in the ground, bro. He's going to run them in the ground. I'm sorry, guys. I know we want to sit here and be like, oh, man, Kyle now can trust these guys. Not going to happen, man. This guy is there's two ways to look at it, right? Christian McCaffrey is making more than all the running backs on the team combined, right? So he's going to absolutely say, hey, you're healthy. Let's go. And you give us our best shot. If for nothing else, just dictating coverage. If for nothing else, just dictating coverage. I think that once Christian McCaffrey is healthy and he's back on the field, he's going to be on the field for 80% of the plays, 80% or more going forward. And while I would love to see – now, here's the thing. Maybe they work in a way where they tell Christian McCaffrey, hey, you need a break. You just had a 35-yard run. Come sit down on first down. come relax on first down, instead of him dictating when he's tired and needs to come out, right? Like Kyle has said it at the podium, like we have to protect him from himself. He wants to go so hard, right? Maybe now they can implement something where it's like, hey, when we tell you to come out for a play or two, you got to listen to us. So maybe it'll go down to 80%, but Christian McCaffrey don't want to leave the field ever. Love that about the kid, but I don't think you guys see any more Isaac Guerrero once Mason is healthy and Christian McCaffrey healthy. I don't think that Kyle's even remotely close to going to a 3-back system, because what happens is you start telling your hand, right? I mean, there's no way, or at least I'm not going to think it. What do you got, a 15% chance that Kyle's going to throw the ball to a running back out of the backfield if it's not Christian McCaffrey, right? So I don't think that's even an option anymore. I could see if he was still using Juice in that way. I mean, Juice has got, what, 5 receptions on the season or something like that, something crazy low. Like, I don't even think that people are expecting it with Kyle Juszczyk anymore. So I'm not confident in saying that, oh, he's coming back now. We've seen Mason. We've seen Guerrero. Kyle can trust these guys. While we all feel that way and we feel that he should, and I'm one of the we, like I think that he should do it, he's not going to do it.
I disagree. I think Kyle Shanahan, maybe if he had the choice, if this was like, I don't know, a fractured arm and Christian McCaffrey is like, okay, it's black and white, he is now healthy, then I would agree with you. But I think this is an injury where it's so finicky and it's so gray. There's not really black and white. There's really no fully healing from this, from the sound of it. I'm not a medical expert, but it sounds like at any point it could flare back up. And that's why the 49ers were so kind of cautious and worried the past week, where he was ramping up his practice, I guess you could say, his workouts, that they were really keeping a close eye on that, both of his Achilles tendons, because just like that, it could ramp back up and flare up and cause a problem. So I think by force, Kyle Shanahan will have to use Christian McCaffrey sparingly. I think he'll be on a snap count. I think Kyle Shanahan will maybe use him more on like first downs, passing downs. But we'll see. I could very well be wrong. Here's a comment from our guy Ian Sharp. Maybe some cowing. By the way, 49ers throwback says, unless Isaac Guerrero is consistent and makes plays, I don't see how Kyle wouldn't give him more opportunities. He's earned them. I think he's earned them. Mike, I was surprised to see, with Jennings out and Brandon Ayuk getting his knee blown off versus the Chiefs, I was surprised to see Jacob Cowing. I can't remember off the top of my head a single snap he got on offense. I think he got 3 at the end of the day, versus the Cowboys. I was that surprised to be. Were you surprised by his lack of involvement in the offense? Is that typical Kyle? And do you expect him to see more looks Sunday morning?
Who are you talking about? All right. Here we go. More honesty. I think the Cowing experiment is over. I think if you couldn't get in without Ayuk and a banged up Debo and Pearsall having his first game ever, it's not going to happen, guys. And they just traded for. Didn't they just sign a wide receiver also?
They signed Russell
to the
Gage.
Practice squad. Yeah, they got Gage, a former Falcon, right? Like, I'm just saying, like, there's something that Cowing's not picking up in the offense. I don't know what it is. I'm to be honest with you guys, it's not that I'm down on him. I have just given up hope on seeing him get snaps and reps on the offensive side of the ball. Definitely targets. He might get 4 reps in a game, but he's not getting any targets. They're just not throwing his way. They're not looking his way at all.
That's unfortunate. I don't know what changed from Kansas City to Dallas, because he got a good amount of reps in the Kansas City game. And he made the most of them. He had that great deep route where, the double move, he totally had the corner bite on it. And if Purdy puts that on him, that's a touchdown. Unfortunately, Purdy was off that game. But I think maybe it's something on practice. Maybe it's something in the film room during the week I'm not seeing. But you can't tell me he doesn't deserve to be on the field more than Ronnie Bell, more than Chris Conley. I think, especially with the injuries to the 49ers. But, Mike, that was a great point. If he couldn't get those snaps without BA, without Llewellyn, and Debo banged up, Juwan's back. Obviously, BA's not coming back this year, but Juwan's back.
Yeah.
Pearsall has another week in the system. It's tough. It's going to be tough to see. And I'm not going to lie. I like Jake Cowing. I kind of hold my breath every time he fields a punt. It's like he's on ice. The guy slips every time.
I don't know. How do I say this? I have more confidence in him returning a punt than I ever did with Richie James.
I'm just worried something bad is going to happen. I don't think necessarily that he's going to like muff it or anything.
Right.
He's going to slip or, something out of his, like he seems for some reason, every time he's fielding a punt, one leg slips out from under him for the past couple of weeks.
Yeah, I do. I recall what you're talking about. And I see that. So I do get it. But I also feel like he's ready to bust a big one. Pause. Like he's right there. He's so ready to go out there and bust a big one. You know what I'm saying? So
excuse me, bitch.
we just gotta let him go ahead and get it out of his system. Like, and there's a thing, right? The games have been relatively close, and so it could be more about ball control and like, hey, like just don't do blank when you're out there returning this one. Don't just make sure you don't fumble it. So he's not maybe given the freedom to go out there and run the way that he wants to. You know what I'm saying? But maybe now they'll let him go out there and do that.
Well, I would love to see him involved even in the running game. We saw how much Kyle uses Debo, and that Dallas game. I said it in the recap show. I could have bet $1,000 that first play, or at least, a couple of first plays, we're going to be Debo in the running game. When Kyle Shanahan has his back against the wall, he reverts to Debo Samuel. I think Jake McCown could be very similar in that skill set with a much more speed involved in it. He's much faster than Debo. He's much quicker than Debo. Debo is kind of deceptively fast, where once he has the ball, it's very hard to catch him. But
straight line speed, yeah.
Right. Without the ball, he's not running that fast. So I would love to see him get involved. Now, what about our other rookie receiver, Ricky Pearsall? He had a great game. Not great. He had a good game. Off the top of my head, I want to say he had about 40 yards versus the Cowboys.
Yeah, pretty good game. Yeah.
Think he'll build on that? What are you expecting from him Sunday?
I do think that he's going to build on it. And I saw an interesting question in our group chat today for Nothing But Niners, and it was, for the rest of the season, who do the 49ers depend on more, Ricky Pearsall or Juwan Jennings? And that is, I still don't have an answer because Juwan Jennings has the rapport. He's got the time and all that stuff. But Ricky Pearsall is still a first-round pick. He's still a guy that they brought in for a reason. He's got more speed than Jennings. He might not have the size. He's not quite as big as Jennings is, but he's definitely got the hands. He's supposed to have the route running. I don't know how that's going to compare at the NFL pro level yet. I haven't seen enough to say definitively what he is or isn't as far as a route runner in the NFL. But I do think that the Niners continue to try to work him in there. I think that they've invested just a little bit too much in him to not let him get more opportunities. You can call it roster politics if you want. That's fine. I'm okay with that. But that's still a thing. And so I think they are going to lean on Pearsall just a little bit more. I do.
I agree. And look, Pearsall, in my opinion, has answered the call every time his number's been called. Versus the Chiefs, there were a couple of examples where him and Purdy weren't really on the same page. You could just chalk that up to not having that many reps together. They almost never practiced together going into the season. Pearsall was either injured or, of course, that he got shot. But very quickly, it looked like they got on the same page Sunday night versus the Cowboys. Also, I talked about reinforcements coming. I missed one. One of their big free agent signings, Yetur Gross-Matos, the 49ers opened his practice window today. And according to Matt Barrows, he believes that's one of the reasons they didn't make a bigger trade at the trade deadline, which was yesterday, as they are getting Gross-Matos back. So that's good. That's a big one. They signed him and Floyd, and obviously Gross-Matos got hurt, never really did anything but prior to that. What were we going to say, Mike?
No, I think that's a great point by Matt. Just looking at the lack of movement, right? Like, so if you guys thought that the Niners needed some more help on the offensive line, all of a sudden it's like, oh, maybe Feliciano can come back. If you guys thought that the 49ers needed help at the wide receiver position, all right, they go out there and they sign Gage. But maybe it's the trust in Pearsall and knowing Jennings is coming back, right? If they don't go out there and get an edge guy, maybe it's because they expect more from Floyd and the rotation of Yatur, right? So it's like it's addition still because they haven't done anything for us during the regular season so far through 8 games. And so we're not going to go out there and just say, all right, well, this guy's not going to do it. This guy's not going to do it. This guy's not going to do it. We have to replace that talent. They're not looking to replace. They're looking to use that talent now. So sometimes the silence or the lack of moves tells you that there's something else in-house that they still believe in. So I really, really like that. We have to look at it from a different lens. A lot of Niner fans were, the meme like with the stick, okay, do something, right? Like, but the do something is already in-house. And that's the best kind of help because they've been part of the training camps. They've been part of the playbook and all that stuff, and they're in the meetings and all. So that's better than an outsider, and not for nothing. I do like the signing of Davis. You know what I'm saying? I do like the signing of Davis. Now we have the trade. I'm sorry. Yeah. We have 2 K Davises on the roster now.
I was just going to say that. Yeah. We got a Kalia and a Khalil.
Yeah. Yeah, so I like the addition. You put him in there next to someone that he's used to playing next to in Collins, and all of a sudden it's like, all right, 2 familiar guys coming from a similar system because D'Amico Ryans was running the same thing over there, and now we can trust that interior. We're going to bolster up the run game, and now if you get a guy like Matos who can rotate with Floyd and give Bosa a rest when needed, all of a sudden this is a whole new defensive line now.
And they got Khalil Davis from the Houston Texans for a 7th-round pick, a 2026.
A future. Yeah. Now we're cooking.
For free. To be fair, they did find their franchise quarterback in the 7th round once upon a time. I don't know if you guys have heard of that, but that goes without saying. This is a good trade for the 49ers. A body in the middle. Obviously, they lost Hargrave for the year, but that's a good point. He did play with Malik Collins in Houston. So I think there's a good addition for the 49ers. But that was the only move they made at the trade deadline. Were you surprised that they didn't make any more? I know you just gave your explanation as to, make sense because of who they were expecting back to get healthy. Even with that in your head, were you still expecting them to be maybe shoppers or sellers? I mean, there was conversation of where the 49ers are going to be come November 5th.
Absolutely shoppers. In the moment, I absolutely thought that there was going to be more movement, another move or 2, right? But then when you hear Kyle Shanahan's injury report today, it's like, oh, that's why they didn't do it, which goes into my explanation as to why they didn't do it, right? But in the moment, I was like, oh, man, I can't believe we're sitting still. And you watch some of the moves that went on around the league, and it's like, dude, we could have afforded that guy. We could have got that guy. We could have got this guy. We could have got that guy, right? And so it's like, why didn't we do anything? And then Kyle breaks down exactly why we didn't do it. This guy's back to practice. This guy's back to practice. This guy's back to practice. It's like, oh, my God, the Niners are coming back, baby. And then we haven't even mentioned Dre Greenlaw back out there. It's the Niners. Listen, these guys are going to be starting their season basically now. And by the time the important part, the stretch, the finalization of this regular season and heading into the postseason, right, when the games matter the most, all of a sudden those guys and those reinforcements are going to be in midseason form and ready to take off. And the Niners are going to quickly become one of those most dangerous teams in the postseason.
They're heading their stride right at the perfect moment, halfway through the year, and they're just finding out who they are as a team. They're what's the word I'm looking for? Infusing the rookies into this team, both on offense and defense. And this 49ers secondary has looked top tier. I mean, don't look now, but the 49ers defensive stats are like top 3rd of the league, if not top 10 in most stats. So it is very impressive what they've done. I tip my cap to Nick Sorensen for making the decision to play Renardo Green over Isaac Yiadom a lot more. It's not like 50-50. It is like 80-20, 90-10. So I appreciate that. He still has a knack for sticking with Javondre Campbell over D. Winters. That one I'm not so sure of. I get you want somebody out there who knows the game. Devondre Campbell knows the game, but what good is knowing it if you can't physically be where you think you need to be when it comes? He's a tad bit slow, especially compared to D. Winters. But D. Winters did get hurt. He had the concussion Sunday night versus the Cowboys, so we'll see. I believe he's cleared concussion protocol. Looking at the injury report,
I didn't see Kyle mention him at all in the injury report.
Yeah, I don't see him listed here, so it's possible he's cleared it. I mean, it has been a week and a half at this point, so that would be good news for the 49ers. Until they get Dre Greenlaw back, they will need D. Winters and Devondre Campbell. Joseph, go ahead.
No, I was going to say to your point about the whole Campbell versus Winters, right? Wayne and I were discussing this a couple of shows ago, and it really came, this is going to sound crazy, right? It came down to Fred Warner, right? When Winters is out there, Warner is a little bit more hesitant. I think it's like making sure that an experienced guy is going to be in the right place at the right time and all that. Maybe over-communicating and not just trusting that the young guy is going to be in the right spot. Versus Campbell, who's going to be in the right spot, maybe not able to execute what you want him to do, but Fred doesn't second guess his ability to know what his assignment is. And Fred plays a little bit more freer. And when you have Fred playing the way that he plays when Campbell is out there, Fred Warner is way up here, right? When Winters is out there, he's still here, which is top in the league for his play, but that all-pro Fred really, really shines when he's got somebody next to him that he knows I don't have to second guess that they know their assignment. And so it could really just be all about that.
Gotcha. It's a good point. Yosef El Bebe said, when assuming when Drake comes back, we will be able to stop the run and another person out there hitting like Big Fred. I mean, he hits harder than Fred, to be honest with you. He's got that motor, and Fred has talked about it. I've asked Dre before, how do you hit like that, man? Like I can't hit like that. Maybe I could do that once out of every 10 tackles. Every tackle, Dre Greenlaw is like borderline a flag. And I used to get annoyed with it because it would penalize the 49ers sometimes, but damn, do I miss it, man. I really do miss just having that energy out there.
Hey, I will take 2 penalties a game if it's a tone-setting hit every single time he's out there.
You say that. I would have gladly have taken a 15-yard and even an ejection if he lit Mahomes up as that bitch was tiptoeing along the sidelines and ended up getting another 20 yards because the 49ers defenders softened up thinking he was going to go out of bounds, and he didn't. Dre Greenlaw would have been right there to light his ass up. Say, okay, you want to steal a couple yards on us, you're going to pay the price.
And play through the whistle. See, the other guys don't do that. Fred Warner, Dre Greenlaw has one speed out there on that field. One speed only, and that's what's been missing. We heard, oh God, who was it? He's on another team now, but they were asking him like, who do you credit for your growth and blah 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 in the NFL? And he was like, believe it or not, I learned a lot from my guys over in San Francisco, Diamador Lenore and Dre Greenlaw. I can't remember what player it was that I saw this clip from. But it was
Tom Brady. It was Tom Brady, believe it or not. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
I was going to say, what? But yeah, so it's like, but the point still stands, right? Like, and it was someone who plays in the secondary. It was like a corner. Who the hell? He said Ambry Thomas, Diamador Lenore, and Dre Greenlaw. I can't remember what player it was now.
Sure it wasn't Tashawn Gibson or something?
No, it wasn't Gibson, who, by the way, is back on the Niners. That's another good one, right? But it's like, that's the kind of shit that I'm talking about that gets me excited. Like when you hear someone who's having a good season on another team still crediting Niners players for their growth and their development, right? Like those
could it have been Sammy Womack?
Yes, I think it was Womack. That's who it was. Yep, it was Womack. Yes, it was. Very good, very good. I'm glad you were able to pull that in. But like that's what's inspiring to me, right? Like, and if those guys are coming back again, by the time the end of the season gets here, we'll be in midseason form, and this defense is going to look completely different. The offense should look completely different. We just got to be patient and get there. We got to be patient and get there one game at a time. But
by the way, I know we're supposed to talk about the Bucs, but we're 9 games in, and holy crap, do I want to tip my cap to the 49ers for this fucking draft class. This draft class looks like a hit on just about every level. Jarrett Kingston is the only miss, And that's a miss that I think would have been a hit had he have been able to make the roster. I think they were hoping to be able to sneak him through to the practice squad, but he got claimed. You got Ricky Pearsall. You got Green as the second-round pick. Then you got Mustafa. And then you got Jacob Cowing. And then you got Garendo. And then you got, who else am I missing? There's probably more that I'm not thinking of.
Bethune. Tatum Bethune.
So
yeah,
this looks like a hit of hits, man. And this draft
make
class,
some noise for that. You got to drop a bomb on that, man. Like, come on, baby. Like that's what it's all about right there, man.
The 49ers had been those draft classes previously were looking like Swiss cheese. You'd get Brock Purdy, then you'd get like 3 or 4. Who? What? Who's that guy? It was really, really good. Ian Sharp says Lynch's best draft overall. Park Dog says this draft is definitely putting in major work. And I tip my cap because more often than not, these rookies, unless you're Deebo Samuel as a rookie, don't get much playing time at all. But Kyle's hand has been forced due to injuries. Can you imagine what this team would look like if they missed on these rookies, Mike? Think of all of the rookies that are starting and think of how badly this team would look if those rookies weren't good enough.
Right. And, this is the blessing in disguise I've been talking about for the last couple of weeks, right? Like Kyle being forced to play a guy like Garendo, being forced to use a guy like Pearsall. All these rookies. Kyle doesn't like trusting rookies.
Even Pooney.
Yeah, he's never, ever, and he even said himself about Pooney, right? He was like straight up, like this guy would not have gotten the opportunity if it weren't for all the injuries on the offensive side of the ball. He wasn't supposed to be coming in here and being the guy this year. He was never supposed to do that. And just due to attrition and, injuries and all that, he got an opportunity and never let it go. And so maybe this is a learning thing for Kyle. Like, hey, it's okay to try to put something on these rookies. Let's just see what they have from time to time. Put them in part of the rotation. Kyle, the old dog, learning new tricks. I'm not mad at it at all.
Which Pooney is crazy because he is now 10 weeks in, one of the top graded guards in the NFL. I don't think he's given up a sack, but also when you look around at successful teams in the league that you'd like to emulate, right? Think of Kansas City. Think of the Rams. Think of any of these teams that are successful. They have consistently been able to replenish their roster with young and just as equally important, cheap talent. Yes. If think of the 49ers, every single year it seems like we've had to deal with this bullshit contract dispute going into each season, right? But that is also because the 49ers have not had the luxury to be able to say, all right, that's fine. Check off. You don't want this contract? Fuck off. We got so-and-so. We got Pearsall. We got Garendo. We got, Pooney. They haven't been able to say that because they haven't drafted these players in the past few years. So it really is impressive that now they finally hit on a class. Or it's too soon to say they have for sure, but it looks like they've hit on a class. These kids are playing at a very high level. And I just want to take a second and rejoice in that fact because it's been so long. Thank you. It's been so long. So they finally got a class because that was the whole thing when they first got here. Dan, they got, Warner in the 3rd. They got Kittle in the 5th. They got Jennings in the 7th, Purdy in the 7th. And then it was kind of a few years of hey, all I'm going to say is as soon as Peters and Rand Carthon leave, they get 6 straight picks out of 7. So 6 starting players. The secondary looks great. Garendo looks like a dog. Pearsall looks like he fits right in like a glove. Cowing looks like he's chomping at the bit for opportunities. This looks like a really good class. And Pooney, like I said, is one of the top-ranked guards in the NFL through 9 games. So, or 8 games. It really is impressive to see. Speaking with Pooney, Mike, there is a player on the Tampa Bay Bucks, and I'm old enough to remember me and you sitting down and talking about whether or not the 49ers should draft him with their first-round pick, and that's Vita Vea. And how big of a problem will Vita Vea pose for Dominic Pooney and the rest of the 49ers offensive line Sunday morning?
Well, I'll put it to you like this, man. Did you know that Chris Jones played in the game against the 49ers?
That's a very good point. That is a very. I couldn't have told you. He had an Aaron Donald like game when the 49ers would play the Rams, or I should say Micah Parsons like game. Who? I didn't realize they were active today.
Yep. Yeah. So I think Pooney is rising to the occasion and going against the best of the best and taking advantage of every single opportunity given to him. And that doesn't fall. That doesn't fall. Blind on me. It's not something that I'm ignoring. This young man is coming in here and really giving his confidence. And a big part of it, I'm not going to pretend like the offensive line has been perfect or anything like that. A big part of it is Purdy's ability to scramble and things like that and keep plays alive or extend plays with his legs and take some extra yards and all when there's nothing there, evading some sacks. While he does run into some sacks or create some bad opportunities at times for himself, the offensive line isn't the one being credited for those negative plays. So some of them are self-inflicted by Purdy, maybe leaving the pocket a little too soon or maybe running the wrong way on some of these plays or, when the defenses send more people than what they can actually handle. But it is definitely not the fault of – and you go based off of whether it's PFF or next-gen stats or anything like that. It's not because of the offensive line. Now, the pressures might be a little high. The pressures are up. I will say that. You see a lot of pressures, but you're not seeing sacks being credited to the offensive linemen. So they're all doing a decent job, and it's all part of the six of them, the 5 offensive linemen and the quarterback, Brock Purdy. They're all doing their part right now to try to keep the 49ers afloat. And if this is the rough part of the season, if this is the injury-ridden part of the season, and we come out of that 4-4, and now we're getting healthy, it's a good base. It's a good base through 8 games.
If I would have told you on September 1st, hey, the 49ers, they're going to start the first 8 games without Christian McCaffrey. We already know Drake Greenlaw is going to be out. By the way, I guess I would have already known this on September 1st. But by the way, Ricky Pearsall is going to get shot. Also, Brandon Ayuk is going to have his ACL blown out in week 7. How do you think the squad will be come bye week? If you would have told me they just break even, I would have been extremely happy with that. I probably would have been a little disappointed overall just because of my expectations for the team. But given all of those situations that have worked, circumstances that have worked against the 49ers this year, breaking even is about as good as, we could have hoped for. And by the way, I say this as a fan, they fucking should be 6-2, man. They should have won that game against the Rams.
Yes.
They should have won that game against the Cardinals.
And
they are beating themselves up every night for losing those 2 games. And by the way, just talked about the rookies. If those rookie DBs played that Rams game over Yadam and whoever else the fuck 49ers had out there, I don't think that Tutu Atwell is torching the 49ers for 173 yards or whatever the fuck he went off for. I don't buy it. I don't buy it. So it is unfortunate, but this is where we're at. We're 4-4, and hey, you know what? That allows other teams to say they're shit. They're 4-4. We can beat them. Underestimate the 49ers all you want. Underestimate them all you want. I was thinking about this the other day, Mike, and I was like, damn, do I miss being the underdog? I miss that like 2019, 2020. Well, I guess it was like 2018, 2019 feeling where it's like we're better than other teams think we are. We really have a shot in this, even though nobody thinks the 49ers can win this. To be fair, it was with fucking Jimmy, but hey, they won a lot of games with Jimmy. They won a good amount of games with Jimmy, some big ones. Yeah. So the 49ers maybe are back in that spot, and it's how are you going to respond? Everybody thinks you're off the top 10 rankings. Everybody thinks you are an afterthought. Everybody thinks the Rams with Sean McVay and his greatness, or the Seahawks with Mike McDonald and his youth and his Baltimore experience and his Harbaugh Bros experience is going to take this division. Or what about Arizona with Kyler Murray and Jonathan Gannon? They're taking things to the next level. They've already beaten, the 49ers and so and they beat this team and they beat that team. They've counted you out. Nobody is expecting shit from you, apparently. Kyle, Brock, George, Fred. How are you going to respond? Sunday morning, 10 a.m. is the first chance to put pen to paper and let the rest of the NFL know how you're going to respond.
Come on. And you know the entire division is celebrating. The Niners aren't in first. They aren't in second. What are we, third or fourth? Like we're no one's thinking about the Niners, including our own division. Man, oh man, what a sweet spot to be in. What a sweet spot to be in. Start overlooking us, and we're going to bite you in the ass paws. Exactly. We are coming, baby. We are coming, baby. And I'm telling you, it's going to be like the fucking plague. I'm telling you, man. It's going to be bad, and we are going to start destroying teams. I got 2 more losses on the record for the rest of the season. I'm not going to lie to you. I got 2 losses on the rest of the season. That's it. Just 2.
Can I ask if one of them is Buffalo?
Yes, absolutely. It's 100% Buffalo. I'm not saying the other one. Okay. I'm not saying the other one. I'm not that one. That one I won't do. I won't do because we got a game preview to get to. It could be this week. You know, I'm not gonna. I don't want to ruin anything.
Very true. Very true. Okay. Well, by the way, 4-4. The 49ers are fucking lucky they're in the NFC West. That's all I'm gonna say. If they're in the NFC North, they're saying bye-bye to the season. They're saying let's pack things up. Maybe their sellers come yesterday. But they're in the NFC West where everybody's within like a game and a half, depending on tiebreakers. And, you know, the ultimate hope is that come week 16, week 17, it doesn't really fucking matter that you lost a tiebreaker to Arizona or to the Rams because you're hoping they're not even in that win category to where it should matter. So hopefully it does matter.
The Niners are already in a place, this is going to sound crazy, right? I'm talking just division-wise. The Niners are already today in a place where they control their own destiny. I know that sounds crazy. Mike, you just said they're not in first or second place, right? How does that work? Because we still have to play everybody that's ahead of us one more time. And so that gives us the opportunity to leapfrog those same exact teams. We already are in control of our own destiny. And that's where you want to be as a team that's been not healthy, that has been struggling offensively, that has been trying to find their way defensively. We control our own destiny already with so much more season left, right? There's going to be no one to blame but ourselves for the outcome of this season. There's going to be no one else to credit. See, when you say blame, it sounds negative, right? Like the negative connotation, like, oh, who are you blaming for these laws? Oh, it's on us, right? But the same thing goes in the positive way. Right? We're going to credit ourselves. That sounds positive, right? We're going to credit ourselves when we make it to wherever we make it to at the end of the season. So the Niners are in the perfect spot right now.
I'm hyped, man. I could go run through a wall right now. I'm hyped. Let's do this. Let's do this. They're 4-4. They're getting reinforcements back. Christian McCaffrey, may I remind you, the offensive player of the year last year, who got a couple MVP votes, if I'm correct, is back. He's back, and he has not had a flare-up. He is looking great. Man, it seems like just yesterday, I had that Monday off. I had Monday and Tuesday off to start the year, right? It seems like just yesterday, I woke up from a nap at 4:45 before the 49ers hosted the Jets on Monday Night Football to see that a shocking active Christian McCaffrey is actually not playing tonight. And I thought, shit, well, that's all right. You know, one game. Here we are 7 games later, I guess. And it's like hardened. It's like I just went on the Frodo Baggins journey of to Mount whatever the fuck. And I am back. Right. And I am ready to get Christian McCaffrey back. I am weathered. I have gone through the storm. I have journeyed up the mountain. I am ready to go. So let's get into
That's funny that you mentioned the Frodo Baggins thing because I just started. I watched the first one, Lord of the Rings, with my kids the other night, and I remembered quickly how they got the ring to the. It's like, why didn't you just call the fucking bird from the beginning, right? It's like, what are you doing, guys? Like, what are we doing all these wars and shit? Like,
right? You're telling me you could just fly over all this shit,
right? Exactly. Yeah. We could have avoided all this mess all along, and I kind of feel that way. You know, you go back to those 2 games, right? We could have avoided all this mess all along. We could have been sitting at 6-2. We could have been if we just handled some business and made some proper substitutions, like you said earlier. But we are where we are, and I think the important thing, same with the Lord of the Rings, that you learn the lesson along the way. And I think the Niners are learning that lesson. They are being battle-tested, and this is when the veterans on the team, the guys with the experience, are going to come in here and reign supreme. This is when they say, hey, you got to trust us. We've been here before. That's the one thing that I hated, right? The whole, we've started 2-4. We've started 3-5. I hated hearing that. I think, like, that's a crutch. That's a handicap thing. But at the same time, There's something that goes into that experience. There's something that goes into, hey, I know how to change a tire. You know what I mean? My tire blew on the highway, and I got a long trip ahead of me, but I got a full-size spare in the trunk, man. You know, shout out to Isaac Garendo. Shout out to Jordan Mason, right? Shout out to Devondre Campbell, even though we might not like how he plays. You know what I'm saying? Right? Shout out to Diamador Lenore for stepping up, right? I have that full-size spare in the trunk, and I know how to change it. Give me 20 minutes. We'll be right back on the road and heading in the direction we need to be in.
And by the way, I've been in this position before. I know you weren't a fan of it, speaking season-wise, but we've seen the last two 49ers wins have been them saying, I've been in this position before, and I'm not going to allow this shit to happen. We saw with the Rams. We saw with the Cardinals. Big leads early up that somehow they lost these games when they were up multiple scores late in the game. With the Seahawks, it kind of looked like they were coming back. It kind of got to a one-score game at one point, if I remember correctly. And then they slammed the door shut on that. We get an interception. We get a touchdown. Same with the Cowboys. Just like that, they score a touchdown in 40 seconds, go 70 yards, and then they score another touchdown in a couple of minutes, and we're like, holy shit, this became a 6-point game. And then they shut the door. They go 4 straight downs without getting up a pass completion. And then they get the big run with Garendo, take a knee, ice it out. So I know we're not big fans of that. I've been here before season-wise, but in-game experience-wise, that has seemed to come true, and it has seemed to help the 49ers saying, I've been here before. I'm not going to allow this to happen again. By the way, we got a super chat for our guy, Shad. Bosa had it right. Now Cam toes, he trumped. But Kyle won't change up, Mike. Be blessed. Hey. Just be unburdened by
come on, Sean.
LMBO.
Come on, Sean. You got to know that Kyle's changing, bro. Listen, and Sean is tapped out on Kyle, guys. I just want to make it very
That's
clear.
Right. He is.
He's over the Kyle Shanahan thing. He doesn't think that this old dog can learn new tricks. But Sean, I'm telling you, I've seen adjustments from Kyle this year. They might not have all worked, but he is changing some things, man. This old dog is learning new tricks. I'm gonna keep saying it because everyone thinks it's impossible, man. But you know, we're gonna be here, bro. I'm saying we as the Niners and the 49er faithful, we are gonna be here. We're not going anywhere. We got a lot of season left, and like I said 15 minutes ago, we control our own destiny, man. I'm telling you guys to strap in. It's going to be a really, really fun and exciting ride along the way. A couple more losses coming, but we'll be okay. We'll weather that storm. I promise you guys. We are built for this. We are literally built for what this team is about to endure and what we're about to go through.
Ian Sharp says special teams looked better last week. By the way, Cowboys were like number 3 ranked in special teams, right? They were like top 10, top 5 ranked in special teams.
Mm-hmm.
They tried a couple of trick plays. They ended up getting penalized on one. 49ers look fine. They look fine. That was their best special teams outing, in my opinion.
And to be fair, maybe it's not being fair. But special teams just looked average to me. Like they just didn't give up.
But that's better.
A big play. Yeah, but I'm not.
They didn't
really
give up a
ready
big play. They didn't miss a kick. They didn't get a kicker injured. I'll take that. That's better to me.
Snyder still sucks ass. I'm sorry, but
they broke even.
Listen,
they broke
even. It was definitely a step in the right direction. If we can come out here and not in the third phase of the game not be a liability, that's a step in the right direction because the special teams has been costing us. I told you guys special teams are going to lose us at least 2 games this year. I think we've met that quota. And when I say that, I want to remind everybody that one of these very pivotal losses was when the Niners didn't have a kicker, where we had to go for it on multiple 4th downs, where we had to go for 2-point conversions, and we barely lost that game. I want to remind you guys, I said special teams was going to cost us, and it did. So not costing us is a step in the right direction. Should we be celebrating it? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe we should be celebrating it, but the truth is still it didn't cost us, and so we are trending in the right direction. Let's keep that trend going.
So, Mike, the Tampa Bay Bucks, I think 2 weeks ago, the bye week kind of threw me off, lost Mike Evans and then proceeded to lose Chris Godwin in the same game. Mike Evans went out with a hamstring tweak, and then Chris Godwin had his ankle snapped sideways and got carted off. So he's gone. from all reports, Mike Evans will not be back for another 2 weeks, so the 49ers will not have to face him. So I heard all of this, and I'm thinking the Bucs for sure are going to get whooped by the Chiefs. The Bucs taking the Chiefs to overtime and putting up 24 points on them was not on my bingo card. Does that say more about the Bucs and their ability to fight without their top two receivers? Top three, technically, because Jalen McMillan was also out. Or does that say more about the Chiefs playing just about 1% better than whoever the fuck they're playing always? What would you say?
I think it's a combination of both. I think that the Bucs were a pleasant surprise, more competitive than what people thought they were going to be. The output is the output. The outcome, I should say, is the outcome. We all expected the Chiefs to win that game, but man, did they go toe-to-toe with that Chiefs. The Chiefs are a vulnerable team, but I mean, you keep it a one-score game, the Chiefs are going to win that. They got the officials on their side. I don't give a shit what anybody says. Always. I'm not complaining about it at all. But when they miss face masks, when they miss false starts on pivotal drives at crucial moments of the game, that's just how the NFL and the officiating crews view the Chiefs. They're allowed to do certain things. We got to stop complaining about it. But kudos to that Buccaneers team for catching an ailing Chiefs off guard, for surprising them, right? No one thought that Baker Mayfield was going to go out there and throw 2 or 3 touchdowns. No one saw that coming. Not against that Chiefs defense. That Chiefs defense has been good despite what we want to say about them taking steps back, right? But they did what they had to do. We're not going to underestimate them. Because we know what they just did to the Chiefs, a team that dominated us, we're going to be okay.
Very good point. So Baker finished 23 for 31, 200 yards, 2 touchdowns, and was sacked twice. The leading rusher, I think he's a rookie, if not second year, Bucky Irving, 7 for 24 yards. Leading receiver, Cade Otton, 8 for 77. It was definitely a tough outing offensively, rushing wise, and for anybody else, or any receiver not named Cade Otton. And the Chiefs offensively, what they were able to do to the Bucs defense, Mahomes was 34 for 44, 291 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, was sacked 4 times. And then Kareem Hunt, 27 carries for 106 yards and 1 touchdown. Travis Kelce, 14 receptions for 100 yards. DeAndre Hopkins, 8 for 86. I'm looking at these numbers and I'm thinking if Purdy had 44 attempts and 34 completions, he's having like 400 yards. I mean, Purdy is way more efficient than Mahomes, apparently. And if George Kittle had 14 catches, we're talking like 220 yards. I mean, that's crazy how inefficient the Chiefs are. But hearing those numbers, do you think that spells out like the chat said earlier, another big George Kittle game? I think he had 6 for 123 Sunday night versus the Cowboys. Do you think this is another big game for him versus the Bucs? I think you're muted.
I can't call it with Kittle. I can't. Here's what I can say. Kittle's going to be exactly what the Niners need him to be in this game.
Oh.
So one thing I've noticed about his usage is if they think they can get by without putting the ball in his hands and him just being a blocker or a decoy, they will do that. But when they have to call on Kittle, man, oh man, does he rise. Now, he's had some uncharacteristic drops, him and Debo alike, right? Debo had a couple of uncharacteristic drops, right? But man, like those guys know how to like really, really like reel it in when they need to. If they feel that they need to depend on Kittle, if they're just locking down all the wide receivers, Kittle's going to step up. I don't have a doubt about that at all. I don't know if he's going to have a career game this year, but Kittle's on pace for a really good season, and I hope it continues. That's what I'll say. Okay.
Well, I think I'm going to go a little easier with it. I think it spells a big game for George Kittle. I think he is due. I shouldn't say due. He is bound to have a big game against this defensive front by the Bucs. I just had it up. Their leading tackler on defense, KJ Britt, is their top linebacker. They obviously have Levante David, the veteran who's been playing at a high level for a long time. I don't think they could match up with George Kittle with what he does in the pass game. So I would like to see George Kittle have a big game. But with that said, is there anything about this matchup we haven't talked about before we get into the predictions that you wanted to talk about?
I do think that Kittle will be a mismatch against both of those linebackers. I know you talk about David and their leading tackler. I absolutely think that Kittle will be a mismatch against them. Also, they have, in my opinion, a questionable secondary. Now, what does Pearsall look like? That's where the question marks come in for me, right? Like, who do we have that's going to beat man coverage? Do you have an answer for that? Because I don't right now. And if Matt was on here, we know what he would say. Well, damn sure ain't going to be Debo, right? Like, we know what Matt would say. We know what Matt would say if he were on the feed right now. But I have all the faith in the world in Kittle. I have all the faith in the world in Christian McCaffrey, Mason, and Isaac Orindo. And not for nothing, I think between Jawan Jennings and whoever else they decide to call upon, I got it. I think they'll be okay. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I think the Niners will be okay. Yeah, no, that's all I got. I think the Niners are going to be okay, man.
I think they're going to be fine. Yeah, Low, the truth says Baker's going to throw to his tight end in all game. He's good. He's a great tight end. He's good for them. And this is what pisses me off about the 49ers sometimes is we know it's like their only receiver, right? I mean, same with the Rams with Tutu Atwell, the Chiefs with Travis Kelce. It's like there's only one guy that can really beat you. And previously they have let that guy beat them. Look at CeeDee Lamb the last game. There's one guy who can beat you, and they let him score 2 touchdowns at the end of the game. I'm hoping that's not the case with Cade Otton. But to be fair, we have also seen the 49ers give up big games to opposing wide receiver ones, tight end ones, and it not necessarily translate into a loss. So I think they're perfectly fine giving up 125 yards to an opposing receiver if they win the game, 24-10 or whatever. It doesn't really matter to them. So yeah. We got a super chat or a chat here, from Big Daddy Niners. Hey, Zach and Mike, this is going to be a tape. I think he meant Debo and Pearsall game, maybe even a Gorendo game. I believe Sunday is going to be, or Debo's going to take off, Pearsall's going to take off, and Gorendo. I should get an award for translating that. I agree with you. Yeah, it's going to be a big game. Debo's kind of banged up. He's got the rib injury. He's practicing with the blue non-contact jersey. So we'll see. Let's get into these predictions, Mike.
All right.
Do you have anything else?
Go ahead and
I cut you off?
No. You're good, man. Well, the predictions will answer any questions that I have left, so that's good.
Got you. Okay, so let's start with offensive. You want to go first?
Yeah, I'll go offensive first. I'm going to take some non-conventional things here. I'm going to go with Trent Williams.
Oh.
I think Trent Williams is going to have this offensive line roaring and ready to go out of the bye week. I think that we're going to see something a little bit different from Trent Williams. Not only is he going to have a good game, I think we're going to see a little bit more vocal leadership from the veteran out there. Guys, this is the part of the season where we really put our foot down and we start to step on the gas. And so I think that he's going to come in. He's going to play the game the way that it's supposed to be played. He's going to be letting these guys know, all right, guys, like, we're going to be all right. And he's going to keep their heads in the game. I think that the offensive line starts out a little slow, and not so much because of their play, but because of Brock Purdy. One thing that no one's really discussing is Brock Purdy's slow starts. He has started unusually slow all these games all season long. I mean, he just is out of rhythm. High throws, low throws, behind players. The timing, the rhythm just doesn't quite seem to be there. And I don't have a reason to expect it to change, but I think that Trent keeps the offensive lines guys ahead in the game. And so I'm going to credit Trent Williams as my offensive player of this game. He's not going to have any stats, no catches, no touchdowns, no rushing yards or anything like that. But I think that Trent Williams is going to be that leader on the offensive side of the ball that we really, really want him to be. So I'm going to go with Trent Williams. No stats, baby.
Kind of a non-traditional pick. I like it. I think this is Ricky Pearsall's breakout game. We saw the Chiefs just had DeAndre Hopkins go 8 for 86 and 2 touchdowns, and that wasn't even their leading receiver. They had Travis Kelce, 14 for 100. So I think George Kittle is going to go off, but I want to tip my hat to Ricky Pearsall, and I think he's going to have 6 catches for 92 yards and a touchdown. I think he's going to take advantage of this Bucs kind of beat up secondary, depleted secondary, and I think he's going to have his first big game with the 49ers. And coming off a bye week, he had, 2 games to build on. It's all perfect timing. So give me Pearsall, just under 100 and a touchdown. Who do you got for defense, Mike?
All right, so I'm gonna give it back to you. I'm gonna defer and let you go first because I have 2 players. I don't want to take the guy that you may be thinking about, so I want to give you the opportunity to say it first. If you take the guy that I want to say first, I'll sprinkle some more sauce on top of it, and then I'll give you a second guy.
Okay. I feel like it goes without saying, and I'm doing this because I think so and also because Matt's not here. Nick Bosa, 3 sacks and a forced fumble. His guy just got elected. He's going to be playing like he just got a shot of steroids in the ass. We saw
baby.
Sunday night versus the Cowboys with the hat. Bosa is on the top of the world right now. So Nick Bosa, 3 sacks and a forced fumble and celebration of what happened yesterday. That's my prediction. What do you got?
I love it. I was going to go with Nick Bosa, but here's the difference. I'm going to go with Bosa with 5 sacks in this game.
Shit.
I think that he has it out for Baker. I will never forget him taunting Baker. That little whisper that he does, that little weird, like stop whispering sweet nothings in my ear, right? But I think that he goes back to it. 5 sacks, a ton of pressures every time he's out there. A bunch of just staying on his ass, man. I really, really think so. Listen to me. Nick Bosa and stunts are going to be the secret to winning this game. If you look at their team, their worst players are their guards. Their worst players are their guards. If by chance the Niners let Collins and Khalil play next to each other, they're going to feast. I'm telling you guys that those guys have rhythm. They have those 2 guys on the inside are going to go crazy, and they're going to open things up for not Davis. I'm sorry. They're going to open things up for Bosa. I think Bosa's going to go absolutely crazy. But since you said Bosa, I'm going to give it to somebody else who, at the end of the last game, said, "I wish we were playing again. I wish there was a game tomorrow." And that's going to be Diamador Lenore, the hyena, man. It's the freaking hyena. You know what I'm saying? Hyenas laugh at everything. They don't care what's in front of them, right? Like, this is going to be a game. You guys are out here running your 3rd, 4th, 5th wide receivers against us. Oh, I'm going to make you pay, baby. I'm going to make you pay, baby. I don't think Charvarius Ward is going to be playing. He said that Kyle said that the funeral for the baby Armani is going to be on Saturday. I would not be surprised at all if Mooney Ward is still in Dallas with his family. He absolutely should be. He deserves the time off. And I think the Niners would be shit for trying to rush him back. I don't think that they're wired that way. And I think the secondary is going to be playing a little more inspired because of the absence of or the lack of practice for Mooney Ward. Even if he does come back, I think they're all going to be playing with a little extra oomph in this game. So I am definitely going to go with who I think is the leader in that secondary as far as play goes, in Diamador Lenore. I'm going to give him not 1 but 2 interceptions in this game. All right, 2 picks for Diamador Lenore, and I think he doesn't allow any more than 37 yards total in this game.
Damn. Okay, I like it. Big Daddy Niners. Fred's 2 sacks and a pick 6. I like that. Jim Everett's in here, of course. Yes, JJ is going to play. He was Nick Wagner. Was it Matt Barrows here? I had it here. Was a full participant in practice, wasn't in limited, excuse me, but wasn't in a blue non-contact jersey. So that bodes well for Juwan Jennings playing Sunday. Okay. Final score predictions, Mike. I'll go first.
Well, no. I'll go first. You take a look at WhatsApp. So this game is going to be one where I would love for the 49ers to make a statement. We're traveling, if I'm not mistaken, right? This isn't a home game. I think I believe Tampa. We're on the road. It's in Tampa. And I just want to harken back to the last time the Niners had a bye week and had to go to Florida. This was a very special game. This was near and dear to my heart. It was last November 11th, 12th, something like that. And the only reason I remember those dates is because my daughter's birthday was November 10th, and we were in Jacksonville for that game for my daughter's birthday. And what we did was something phenomenal. The Niners, I believe, might have been their only game that year where they didn't give up a touchdown to the opposing team. I think the Niners can do something like that again. I think that they can stop the Buccaneers from getting in the end zone at all this game. I'm going to go 32, not 31, 32-9 is going to be my final score prediction. The Niners are going to go out there and get busy. They're going to set some trends. We're going to give up some big yards down the stretch, but the defense is going to knuckle down, stop them from getting in the end zone, and force them to settle for some field goals. Niners by a bunch. Let's go, man.
Damn.
32-9.
32-9. I like that. I am confident in this game. I'm not that confident as far as I'd predict that big of a blowout, but I got 31-17. I think the 49ers win this. It's probably 31-10. Maybe the Bucs get a late touchdown coming back. But 31-17, excuse me. So we'll see. We got Matt in the chat with his predictions. 34-13, 49ers. Offensive player in the game, George Kittle. Defensive player of the game, Nick Maga Bosa with 3 sacks and a forced fumble. Matt, I had just given that prediction for you for that exact reason. So thank you. We got Red Jet Shell, 23-21. Keep it close. Retro Gamer, 34-20. Niners.
Okay. Let me just say this. I don't like that close of a score, Red Jet. Not 2 weeks in a row for the Bucs. You lose one in overtime. Maybe I have too much respect for Todd Bowles. Maybe, right? But I don't think you let 2 games get that close without you finding out a way to finish it off. And you're at home. I just don't think that they do that 2 games in a row. If it's that close, the Niners might be on the losing side. It should not be that close. Don't give this team life at all. They just gave it their all. They went to overtime. You heard Kyle Shanahan saying, "Shit, I was hoping for a double overtime. I wish they changed the rules." You know what? Like, I don't want to see it get that close. If they get that close, I'm gonna put on a depends in the fourth quarter if the game is that close, because I might shit on myself. It's gonna be that bad. I just don't want to see it happen.
By the way, the Bucs are coming off a 3-game losing streak, so they're desperate. They're going to be trying everything after being at the top of the NFC South. I want to say they're second now. They dropped below the Falcons. So they're desperate. Coming off 3 games straight. Okay. I got a chat pack question, Mike. Whoop. So let's pull it out.
Here we go. Let's do this, baby. Pause.
Do we have? Yeah, we do. Okay. Chat feel free to
chat pack.
Answer comment your answers as well. If you were told that you could only watch one television show a week for the next 12 months, which show would you choose to watch?
For a month, and I can only watch it once a week.
12 months. 12 months.
Oh, so for a year, and I get to watch one show a week?
Yeah,
is that what it is?
Show?
Oh, man, I got 2 shows that I'm deciding between right now. I'm going to go with Golden Girls.
Really?
The Golden Girls, I don't know if anybody out there ever watched this show, like really, really watched it. This show was so far ahead of its time. It's not even funny. There's obviously plenty of comedy in it, and I like to laugh. I don't want to watch something. I don't know what you're gonna say, but I don't want to watch anything like This Is Us or A Million Little Things. I'm not crying every fucking week, and right. I want to be happy and all that stuff, but I also want to learn some lessons. I want to like find some positive, something with a message in it, right? And Golden Girls, if you guys ever really go back and watch it, they tackle all of the big topics: homosexuality, abortion, sex. They tackle racism. They covered all of this stuff in this show that was out in what, the 70s, 80s, right? Like this show was so far ahead of its time, it's not even funny. And not for nothing, Golden Girls was the platform for shows like Sex and the City that people herald as one of the best women shows in the world, right? Like Golden Girls was the platform for that. It was Sex and the City was loosely based on what Golden Girls was. It was 4 homegirls having their experience down in Miami. That's what I don't get what.
I'm just thinking of Betty White being a homegirl. It's funny.
I'm just it is what it is, man. I'm just telling you guys, man, right? You got Blanche, the loose lips, sinks ships, right? You got promiscuous, I should have said, not loose. I'm sorry. She was a little bit more promiscuous and outgoing with her body and vivacious, right? You got the airhead and Betty White, but always like grounded and humble, right? You had Sophia, who's just going to tell you exactly how it is, right? The mom and the wisdom and all that stuff, and teaching the valuable lessons and cutting no corners, and she doesn't give a shit about how anybody feels. I'm going to tell you exactly what you need to hear. And then you got Dorothy, right? Dorothy was the balance of the whole show, right? The facial expressions. And man, B. Arthur, man, what an actress, man. Anyway, a phenomenal show. I'm definitely going to go with Golden Girls.
Damn, okay. Yeah, this is tough. Honestly, if you guys know me, you know I love to cook. I love to bake. I watch a shit ton of Great British Bake Off. I could watch, I mean, there's like 9 seasons of that on Netflix, and I just caught up to it, and now like the newest season's out, and I have to wait every week for an episode. But I could watch that shit like every night. Every night I could watch Great British Bake Off.
I gotta ask a question.
Ask the questions.
I got it. This isn't the show. Well, no, clearly it's not that show. What do they do other than bake in this show?
Well, like I think it's 12 people go to like a tent in Britain, and they got like a little mini kitchen set up each person has, and then they have 3 challenges, and at the end of each episode, somebody gets sent home.
Oh.
And then at the end of it, somebody wins.
Like it's like, so you have to cook something and then they
yeah.
Is it based off a taste test? Is it based off of visual, or is it a combination of all that?
Both, yeah.
It's all that. So it's like the there's a show that my kids really like, and it's like, is it cake or is it real? Like
right.
So it's kind of like one of those shows.
Yeah.
So I heard about this show, and maybe it was you guys, maybe I heard it on another podcast. There's this show. Oh man, I'm about to go. I'm gonna make a hard left. Trigger warning. Maybe put the kids away. I don't know, but it was like a dating show, and so like let's say it's me, and I'm about to like. There's 3 girls, or whatever I'm attracted to, that are in like these tubes, okay, and I'm listening to their voice for the first question, all right, and then the tubes like go up a little bit. So now I can see their ankles and their feet. And if they pass, they get the last. If someone says something that I don't like, they're off. And now I'm down to two candidates, right? And then it goes up a little bit more, and now I can see their knees, right? And then if they both pass, it goes again to the next question, and it goes up a little bit more, and now I can see their waist. But they're naked. Have you heard about this show before?
Is it an American show?
Hell no. No. Because they are stark naked. They are butt ass naked. I don't know the name of this show, and I've never seen an episode.
Eastern European.
Yeah. Maybe, right? Like I've never seen it, but I swear if I could remember the name of this show, and if anybody out there in the chat knows it, please type it in there. But what happens is it's a dating show, and you're judging people based off of what they say in the beginning, but then more about their body at the end of it. And so they're butt ass naked inside these tubes, and you see more and more of the body, the genitalia, the breast, or the balls. What like it slowly shows you more and more. You have no idea who you're starting to like based off of the answers until the very end when the tube comes all the way up and reveals them. If anybody out there knows the name of this show, please tell me. I've never watched an episode, but I could see me wanting to see something like that for a whole year straight.
I want to know how baking put that on your mind.
Well, because it was because I know it's not from this country, so you started overseas, and so it was like, all right, that's all it took. That's all it took. I'm sorry, that's all it took. That's all it took for me to get there, bro. I'm sorry. I thought you were going to that show right away. I have no idea where I heard about this show. I can't, like I said, I can't remember the name of it or anything. Would you go on a dating show like that? Like, well, okay, obviously, if you were single, because
I'm not in the tube, yeah.
You wouldn't stand in the tube?
I'm showing Wang in this tube. I got my balls kicking out the bottom of it.
Not for the first 3 questions, unless your balls are. If your balls got hang time, then maybe the first 3 questions.
How hot is it in the studio?
Naked Attraction. Why does Matt know what this is? Let's go. This is what I'm talking about. Now I got to go find this show as soon as I get off of here. So I'm putting it in the group chat so I can go and look this show up. I am going to watch this shit, and I might have a different answer. I might have to come back and do a different show. But right now I'm going with Golden Girls with maybe a potential nod to Naked Attraction.
Crazy delta from Naked Attraction to Golden Girls. That's a crazy difference.
I'm sorry. All right. I won't say anything else random for the rest. Let's just get out of here because I'm sorry, man.
Well, yeah, go watch Naked Attraction, I guess, or go watch Great British Baking Show, whatever suits
or Golden Girls, or Golden Girls.
Yeah, or Golden Girls. All right, that's gonna do it for tonight's show, guys. I appreciate you guys rocking with us. This was our preview of the Week 10 matchup. 49ers, Bucks. 49ers have a chance for the first time this year to get 2 wins back to back, and I guess
we didn't just do that.
No, they lost to the Chiefs and they beat the Cowboys.
Oh snap!
They haven't been able to put 2 wins together back to back. Now this is kind of a cheat because they did have the bye week in between, but still they need to take care of business, handle business in Tampa. 2 wins back to back for the first time this year. You get some reinforcements: Christian McCaffrey, Juwan Jennings, Feliciano. They all look like they're going to play. So it's time to take care of business, guys. Matt says he'll be on the review on Sunday, so make sure you're back for that. Hopefully, we're recapping a win. Like and subscribe to both channels on the way out. Thank you, Red Jet Shell. Appreciate it. 49ers Hive and Nothing But Niners. Sean with Super Chat. That was a shroom trip, Mike, not a show.
I only heard about it. I swear I only heard about it, man. I'm sorry, guys. I am so sorry. I bet you all go out there and look at it. I bet you this show just got at least 5 more viewers from this show.
Yeah.
I guarantee you. Naked Attraction. I guarantee you they just got at least. You guys are going to go Google that shit right now. I guarantee you. Good luck. I don't know. I don't know. I'm sorry, man.
All right. Yeah, Mike, I'm sure the folks already know, but please let the folks know where to find you.
Listen, guys, hopefully you guys enjoyed the show. We have a lot more content coming to you guys, man. You guys can follow me on our YouTube page here. It is Nothing But Niners on YouTube. If you guys are watching already on Nothing But Niners YouTube, please head on over to Zach and Matt's channel. That is 49ers Hive. And if you guys are looking for some bonus content or somewhere to hang out with some fellow faithfuls and watch the game with your people, head on over to the Patreon page, patreon.com/NB9ERS. I would encourage you guys to subscribe to the $5, $10, or even $20 tier. There is a $1 tier down there, but that is only for games that are in prime time and you still want to hang out with people. So you won't get a lot more of those. I think the Niners only have, one more primetime game this year?
2, I think. Sunday Night Football, Thursday Night Football.
Yeah, so there's only 2 more of those left, but we're there every week, regardless of where I am. Even if I go to games, we were in Seattle for the game, and we still went live, and we stayed back just for you guys. So we do that for the $5, $10, and $20 tiers, plus some bonus episodes. I will get Matt on. I'm hoping to get Zach on the Patreon, just so we can have some unfiltered talk. You guys thought that this was crazy with Naked Attraction. Just wait till you hear what's going on the Patreon. So make sure you guys get on over there, patreon.com/NB9ERS.
That's right, guys. Go check it out. And like Matt says, until next time, go Niners. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in tonight. I hope you guys have a great Wednesday night and a great rest of your week. I have the rest of the week off, kind of happened to be that way. So I am going to have some tacos and enjoy my night. But thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Our personal handles are on the screen. Make sure you follow us. We'll be back Sunday with a recap show. Like I said, hopefully recapping a 49ers win. So without further ado, that'll do it for tonight. And until next time, go Niners.